Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we're taking a look today at the HP M234dwe. This is a pretty low-priced multi-function laser printer and scanner. It's black and white only, but I think it actually delivers really good performance for its price. And we're going to be taking a closer look at this printer and some of the different things you need to think about when buying this device in just a second. But I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that this is on loan from HP. So when we're done with this, it goes back to them. All of the opinions you're about to hear are my own. No one is paying for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's get into it now and see what this printer is all about. Now, there are two price points on this printer. You're going to see one with an HP Plus sticker on it, which is going to cost $179. And then there's another version that's the same printer, but it's not HP Plus labeled, and that one costs $229. Now, HP Plus is not a subscription, and what you get is a lower price of entry along with an extra year of warranty. So this printer comes with a 2-year warranty versus only 1 year on this very same printer that is not labeled HP Plus. And you might be thinking, wow, what a great deal. You get a lower price for the printer and an extra year of warranty. What's not to like? Well, the big thing here is that you have to commit to using only original HP toner cartridges for the life of the printer. This will not work with a generic cartridge or one that's been refilled somewhere. It is original or nothing. And you can buy those cartridges, or you can go through the Instant Ink program and do the subscription thing. But you can't use anyone else's cartridges with this printer if you have the HP Plus version. Again, you can buy this without HP Plus for a little more money. You can use whatever cartridge you want as long as it seems to work, but you do lose a year of warranty and you'll be paying more to go into it. Now, this does require an HP account to operate, and you also need an ongoing internet connection for it to continue operating. Now, earlier I did test disconnecting the internet from the house, and I was still able to print to the printer without a functioning internet connection. However, I would imagine that it does probably call home from time to time, and if it's not able to call home to validate its cartridge, it'll likely not let you print. So it's going to need to be on the network all the time, and it will require an ongoing internet connection, as they indicate here in their chart, for the printer to work. Those restrictions are not in place for the non-Plus version of this printer. And what you'll see on the back of the printer is a USB port that's covered up by a sticker. I did peel the sticker off to see if I could get it to work by directly connecting it to my PC, but the printer did not print. It needs that network connection, so it cannot be used over USB, only over your network. You have the option of Wi-Fi. It'll support 5 gigahertz or 2.4 gigahertz networks, or you can plug it directly into Ethernet. Now, I have found laser printers are generally less expensive to operate, especially for people that are printing at very high volumes. But they're also more economical for people that print at low volumes. And I'll give you an example. I've got an inkjet printer that I use maybe every 4 or 5 months. And every time I fire that printer back up, it takes me about an hour to get all the heads cleaned out so that I could actually get a usable document out of it. And you're wasting a lot of ink to get those heads cleaned out. On a laser printer, it's not using ink, so it can sit for 4 or 5 months, and when you turn it back on again, it's going to spit out a document that'll look just as good as when you last used it. And if you're in that boat, I think you'll be very happy switching to laser. And if you don't need a color printer, it's a no-brainer, because these are very high-quality text printers, and they do very good with business graphics also. Now, if you're buying toner for this, there are 2 different cartridges. One is a standard capacity that does 1,100 pages per cartridge, and there's a higher capacity cartridge that does about 2,400 pages. And when they are rating these cartridges for the capacity, they're assuming you're printing out a document kind of like this one, just some text on the page, not a lot of toner coverage. They're not assuming you're printing out something like this. So that 1,100 page toner cartridge may only do about 4 or 5, maybe 600 pages if you're printing out something that has a lot of toner covering the page. It's all about coverage. So just keep that in mind as you're making decisions as to how to pay for your consumables here. Now, the standard capacity cartridge costs about $45. The high capacity cartridge is about $79. I would recommend buying the high capacity cartridge because your cost per print is lower. And again, it can sit in the printer for a long time, so there's no real penalty to buying the higher capacity cartridge even if you print at lower capacities. Now, if you opt for the HP Plus version, you get 6 months of their subscription plan for free, and I would advise taking them up on that offer because the printer comes with one of those starter cartridges that doesn't last all that long, so you can at least get 6 months of toner out of the plan here for nothing, figure out what your usage is, and then make the best decision as to whether or not it's good to go on the monthly plan or just buy the cartridges outright. Now, the HP Instant Ink Toner program has 5 tiers of service. You're paying based on the number of pages you plan to print in a month. If you go over, you pay an overage fee, it looks like in 50-page increments. If you go under, you can roll over unused pages to the following month, and you can have up to 2 times the number of pages in your plan as a rollover amount. Now, in looking at this from strictly a cost per page basis, only the 800-page per month plan and the 1,500-page per month plan appear to save any money over just buying the high-capacity cartridge whenever you need a new one. And that's kind of unusual for HP's subscription offering because on the Inkjet side, I found it to be a cost savings no matter what your usage is. But here on the laser side, because these printers are just more efficient in general, it's harder to find a cost savings on the subscription. I think if you are printing a lot of this high coverage kind of document, then maybe it makes sense to look at the subscription for this kind of document because this does cost more to print. It has more toner on it, and HP only bills you based on the page, not the amount of toner that you use. But if you're not printing a lot of this and are mostly printing a lot of this, I think it makes more sense to just buy the cartridge as opposed to going with the subscription. And you can kind of do the math and figure out what works best for you. But either way, I would say take advantage of that 6-month free trial because it is free toner and you may as well use it. Just note though that when that 6-month period ends and you decide not to re-up, that cartridge that's in the printer will no longer be usable, even if it still has toner left in it, because it requires that you have an active subscription to use it. So just bear that in mind, and then again, do the math and see what makes the most sense, but I'm not seeing a lot of cost savings here with the subscription option. So with all that out of the way, why don't we take a look at the actual hardware now. It's pretty compact, although the paper input area here does take up a little bit of extra space beyond the edge of the printer here. If you want to stow it, you can fold it up like this, but it will take up a little bit more room with the paper tray installed. I will put up on screen right now the dimensions, including the paper tray here, so you can get a feel for how much room it'll take on your desk. It's not all that heavy. It's just under 17 pounds, about 7.6 kilograms. You can store 150 pages in the sheet tray here. It will only, though, handle about 100 pages on the output. This does support duplex printing, so it can print on both sides of the page, which we'll do in a few minutes. And your paper sizes range from a 4x6 card up to a legal size piece of paper, which is 8.5 by 14. Now, we shot a separate video on the installation process. It is super easy, but you do need a smartphone, especially if you're using the HP Plus version, to get it all working. But once you get the printer on the network, your computers will find it automatically. It is very easy to get up and running. I tested it with PCs on Windows 10, the Mac, and my Chromebook. All of those found the printer just by going into the control panel. And in the case of the Windows PCs, it actually popped up on all the computers automatically once the printer got itself on the network. So on the top of the printer here next to the scan bed, there are some limited controls. These are mostly for doing copies. So for example, I could make 5 copies right now if I put this thing on the lid. I'm just going to reduce that back down to 1 and push the copy button here, and that's going to spit out a black and white copy for us. The scanner itself, though, is color, but it only scans at about 300 dpi, and it's not very fast. So I would not consider this to be a decent photo scanner, but it's good enough in a pinch to get some things scanned into your computer or phone, and I'll show you some ways to do that in a few minutes there. On the back, you don't have much of anything here beyond just a means of getting the printer unclogged if you've got a piece of paper that's stuck. There's no manual feeder or anything else like that. Everything has to feed through the tray on the bottom. You can run envelopes through. They say you can stack up about 10 envelopes max here on the bottom, but there is no manual paper feeder on there. So let's take a look at print speed and quality now. I've got a 10-page document here, kind of a mix of photos, graphics, and text. And what I'm going to do here is just go to File and Print, and we'll have it go off to the printer. One thing to note is that there's no high quality mode on here. The max resolution is 600 dpi, and that is the default. So whenever you run something out to the printer, it's going to print at its maximum resolution, and you can see what that speed is here. There is an econo mode that will use a little less toner, but it won't look as good. So I think the default here is probably what you want to go with. And as you can see, the pages here really come out pretty quick. They rate this one at 30 pages per minute. And for a low-priced printer like this, I think that's a pretty good deal, especially if you do have a good amount of volume to print at any given time. This thing will really spit stuff out pretty quickly. It's not all that quiet though, but you know what? It's fine because you are getting your pages out very quickly. The quality on it looks spectacular, especially for text. And that's something that laser printers always have as a strength, is the quality of the text that they output, even on default settings like this one. The graphics look pretty good too, not too many banding issues going on, and photographs look pretty nice too, but again, this is just a black and white printer. Now, if you're looking to save paper, you can go with a two-sided option where it will print on both sides of the paper automatically. So we'll click print here and let that run. Note that if you're on the subscription plan, each page is going to count as two. Even though you use one piece of paper, there are two different prints going on, so you're not going to save any money on your subscription plan there. But as you can see here, it prints pretty quickly in duplex mode, almost as quick as it does when it's going on a single page output there. So altogether, pretty good stuff. Now, as I mentioned, you need to use the HP app here to get the HP Plus version of this printer operating. And the app has some pretty cool features on it. One of them is something called camera scan. So if I click on this and just point it at this document here, it will recognize it. I can push my shutter button here and it will scan that in. I could then go in and save this to my phone. I can also print it out wherever I am in the world. So if I hit print now, what's going to happen here is I'm going to select my printer, which it's going to find either here in the house or over the internet. And within a second or two, it will print that out. One of the cool features of HP Plus is that you can configure the printer to only print that document when your phone gets within physical proximity to it. So that's another little bonus of the HP Plus feature. But it's kind of nice just to be able to scan with your phone and then just print something out like that if you need to. And then I've got the option here to save the document later if I want. So you have that kind of built in as part of the deal here. One thing to keep note of if you're looking for fax capabilities is that they actually have a mobile fax option that uses your phone. Right now it is free. At some point I think they might offer this as an additional service. They haven't yet stipulated what they want to do with that. Right now you can send faxes, and what you can do is either scan them with the printer here or with your phone and then send them out. There's no receive option at the moment, but eventually they're going to have an option where you'll have a phone number that you can give out, and when the service receives a fax, it will direct it to your printer automatically and print it out just like a fax machine would. Now you can also scan from the app, and what I can do here is put down this document on the flatbed, and on the phone there's an option for printer scan. So I'm going to push that right now, and what that will do is pull up this dialog box here. I'll click on preview, and what's going to happen now is that the scanner will begin a preview scan of the document that I put in. It's kind of slow. You can see that scan head moving there, so it's not going to be a terribly fast way to scan a document, but it can scan it, although I think it's faster to use the phone as your scanner than the actual scanner on the printer itself. But what you'll get here when it's done is your document that you can then print out, save, or do whatever you want with. Again, the scan quality here is only at 300 dpi, not spectacular. It's kind of slow, but if you have a document to copy every once in a while, I think it's going to be adequate for that. But your phone is going to scan a lot faster than the hardware will on the printer. Now you can also download the HP Smart app on your computer. There's a version for Windows that you'll find in the Windows App Store. This is it running here. It's pretty much the same interface as what you have on your phone. On the Mac, you'll find it in the Mac App Store, and again, it's going to have a similar interface to what your mobile phone has. So if you want to keep things simple and familiar, just download the app on each of the platforms that you're on and you can go from there. But the scanner is a standard network scanner, so you don't have to use the HP app if you don't want to. So for example, on the Windows side, you can download the Windows Scan app for free from the Windows Store and just use a very simple scanning application. I scanned that document we looked at earlier here with that, no problem. On the Mac, they have an app called Image Capture, again, built right into the operating system, and as you can see here, the HP is showing up on the network there too. So you can use the HP app or pretty much anything that supports network scanning. So overall, I think this is a really good printer from HP. You've got a very fast print mechanism that outputs high quality documents. I was very pleased with that for the price point. But the scanner here isn't so great. Low resolution, kind of slow, no document feeder, but it's there if you need to make a copy every once in a while. But the value proposition really is with the print mechanism. The one question that unfortunately you're going to have to answer is whether or not this HP Plus thing makes sense. Yes, you save money. Yes, you get a longer warranty, but you can't use any other cartridge but theirs, and the printer is going to police you on that throughout your ownership of it, even beyond the 2-year warranty period. So just keep that in mind when you're shopping for it. And of course, you also have to figure out whether or not the subscription plan makes sense for you. I would say probably in most cases it won't cost you any more, but it may not save you anything beyond convenience. And again, it's going to vary based on the number of pages you print and how much coverage you have on those pages. It's just not as cut and dry here with the laser printers as it is with the inkjets. So a lot to think about on your end, unfortunately, on this one. And that's going to do it for now. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold level supporters Chris Allegretta, Tom Albrecht, Mark Bollinger, Sergio Morales, Mark Dell, Jim Callagher, and Stephen Sue. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.